Joining this evening's Grand Public Schools Board of Education meeting. If you could please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Grant, are you ready? Please call the roll.
All right, we have Ms. Lewis excused, Reverend Matias.
Present.
Ms. Shockey is excused, Mrs. Williams.
Present.
Dr. Baker.
Here.
Ms. Davis.
Here.
Dr. Flores is excused. Ms. Grant present, and President Ross.
Present. May I have a motion for tonight's agenda, please?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. There being none, we have an agenda. Thank you. So that moves us to our celebrations, and looks like we have Dr. Brandy Lovelady Mitchell stepping forward. Thank you.
Good evening, President Ross, trustees, and Dr. Roby. I have the distinct honor of asking all of our new leaders to stand to be recognized. So let me do that at this time. If you are a new leader, might you stand at this time? We want to give you a round of applause for leading. Thank you. These are the folks who have been at the center of making sure that our processes have run smoothly to welcome our scholars back, and they will be a part of the crew that is operationalizing our strategic plan and our theory of action. So again, we thank you for being with Grand Rapids Public Schools, and once again, can we give them a round of applause? Thank you for being here. And now I will pass it to Eric. Is that right?
Jonathan, for Peace Education.
Yep, it's Eric in his place.
Okay, thank you. Celebration regarding Peace Education, Mr. Harper. Oh, Eric, in place of Mr. Harmson, in place of Mr. Harper, excuse me. You may have been called worse at some point.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Jonathan unfortunately had a family emergency, so I'm trying to fill in for him this evening. So good evening, President Ross, Superintendent Roby, and distinguished board members. I am going to introduce Ms. Kate Valere from the Institute of Global Education, who are providing you with information on this year's theme for peace. Education Week taking place September 17th through 24th. And Kate has brought a friend.
Read that.
Watch out.
Thank you. I'm Katie Villiers, and a longtime member of the Institute for Global Education. And I want to introduce another member, but who also is a school colleague. Kathy works for Arbor Circle, KSSN, as a clinician at Burton. And I always like to make sure you know that teachers, we have many teachers in our group, and that is 41 years old. Our Peace and Justice group that kind of has events like this around the International Day of Peace, which is the 21st of September, and every year. And it is a worldwide holiday. And we like to have asked the mayor to proclaim it as a holiday in Grand Rapids, which she usually does. And this year we are having an interfaith program at Catholic Information Center. That's one of the events. And the secondary theme, besides peace, this general theme of peace this year is eliminate racism, build peace. So we are trying to work to really illustrate that theme with our events. And we would like to ask the school board to promote a week of peace education, and that's a thing that has been done for many years in our schools. And we encourage teachers to promote conflict resolution and peace education. They're somewhat separate, but they do go together. And we have materials that, and also suggestions. We have a video, it seems for the last few years we've had. Sometimes for some years, we've asked students from Grand Valley to come in and help teach about the themes that we've had. And some of the themes have been close to this theme this year. Some have been about the environment, but this we think is very timely and important. This particular theme of eliminating racism and building peace. So we're hoping that we can, that you'll endorse another week of peace education for Grand Rapids Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to just interrupt and make sure that we certainly celebrate all of our district leaders. And thank you before I do that, just again to double down on Peace Education Week. We can always use more peace, especially in this time of our society. We want to make being kind contagious. So for our district leaders, I just want to announce who they are. And if you can either stand up real quick or raise your hand. Amber Fox, Director of Social Emotional Learning. Susan Lee, School Renewal Facilitator and Promise Neighborhood Grant. Tricia Mathis, Director of Design and Implementation for the Promise Neighborhood Grant. Dan Moore, Director of Finance. Steve Petros, Director of Assessment and Evaluation. Sherry Ross, Director of Design and Implementation Team for the Promise Neighborhood Grant. Matt Salinas, Coordinator for Early Warning Systems. Kay Smith, School Renewal Facilitator for the Promise Neighborhood Grant. Diane Tallow, School Renewal Facilitator for the Promise Neighborhood Grant. Brandon Morell, Director of Facilities and Operations, newly here from Texas. We just talked about the winter. Molly Ali, Primary Years Program Coordinator at Coit. Darren Brown, Dean of Grand Rapids Montessori. Tamika Henry, Principal at Sherwood Park Academy. Melissa Manning, Principal at East Leonard. Dan Morse, Principal at North Park Montessori. Christy Price, Assistant Principal at Grand Rapids Montessori. Mackenzie Ritzema, Assistant Principal at North Park Montessori. Cindy Rivera Madera, Assistant Principal at Dickinson. Kim Rowland, Assistant Principal at Museum. Erin Anderson, Principal at Westwood Middle. Dr. Mulunge Kalambula, Assistant Principal at Westwood Middle. Stephen Reynolds, Assistant Principal at Riverside Middle. Adrian Wolf, School Improvement Facilitator, Alger Middle. Charlie Vandervliet, Principal at City Middle High. And then also I want to make sure that we acknowledge both our new Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Brandy Lovelady Mitchell, and our Executive Director of Communications and External Programs, Mr. Leon Hendricks. And again, this is a dream team of talent and diversity, so let's please acknowledge these leaders again. Roxana, I just, as soon as I looked at you, and this is why you can't, so Roxana Alahani, who is our Executive Director of Special Education. So let's give her a round of applause too. If ever I forget, please.
I was a little bit worried for a second when I thought you had announced that Dan Morse was going to be the Director of Finance.
Oh,
so.
Yeah,
So she's in the right place.
Well, thank you very much. That brings us to public comment for board agenda items. Do we have any for board agenda items?
Okay, we have,
This is for a non-board agenda item, so that will be placed at the end of our agenda for that. So there aren't any for board agenda items at this time. That will move us to the secretary's report.
All right, I just have two updates for committee meeting schedules. We have Academic Achievement Committee, Wednesday, September 7th at 5 p.m. here in the auditorium. And then Legislative Committee will meet Monday, September 18th at 5 p.m. also in the auditorium.
Thank you. Committee chair updates. Ms. Shockey, the chair of the Ad hoc Facilities Committee, is excused tonight. I don't know if Dr. Wilby, do you have any updates you'd like to offer for the board?
So as you know, we are in the beginnings of our facilities master plan. Next week, we will begin rolling out our town halls, and there are 11 of them that will take place across the city at different elementary buildings and middle school buildings, and then we have a couple of them online. We especially want feedback related to our facilities master plan, and understanding that many of our buildings, due to the pandemic, have been closed and shuttered during the time, and then as we have started to come back online, we've tried to limit the number of people that are in buildings, but now we are fully open, and so we are having our meetings at our elementary and middle school buildings. We want feedback from our community. We've opened up a survey that began on September 1st, and it will run until October 15th. And so there's another opportunity, if you don't want to have the talks with, in more direct conversation, there's an opportunity to offer feedback. And again, it's about our hope for the future. It's not just for 2022, it's about conversations of what our district and our facilities need to look like for the future. And so we encourage and invite people to look on our website. There's a special link that will direct you to the different meetings that are taking place across our city, and also other opportunities for engagement via survey and other things that will be taking place. And again, it's not for just today, it is for 25 years and beyond. So we encourage and invite you to do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Wilby regarding that? No? All right, that moves us also to finance update, but again, our chair is not here for finance. In conversation, the only thing really of note was the purchasing agenda, which was in your packet. If you have any particular questions, though, we do have Ms. Cribbs here who may be able to field any questions if you do have any. There being none, then I guess we will move on to the superintendent's report.
All right. So we opened officially our doors 2 weeks ago today, and I will say that this has been probably one of the best starts to the school year that I've seen in a long time. People were smiling and excited to be in school, not only our scholars, but our staff and our families. And in that time, we had the unique opportunity, because Grand Rapids is such a unique community. It's multi-layered and it's multi-dimensional and multi-generational. And we had the unique opportunity to be introduced to a young lady by the name of Granny K. I hope that you had an opportunity to check her out. There was a feature story. She is part of senior, I want to make sure I get this right, senior, it's through AmeriCorps. Thank you, Senior Neighbors, thank you. And what she does, and this is really, really important, because those of us who may have not had grandparents and not had the benefit of a grandparent, she does that loving kindness, but also guiding that gentle kind of holding our scholars up. And so I would like Granny K to come forward, because we want to acknowledge and give you your flowers. So Granny K, will you join me at the center of the floor?
No, this is my second.
This is your second year, okay.
But the program's been going on
For
for
13 years. And she volunteers at East Leonard Elementary.
Yes.
And again, it's important because people don't always have to give of their time. And so when someone is willing to give of their time, to love up on our babies, I think that's really, really important. And so, Granny K, we want to give you your flowers just for the work that you do and the love that you give to our scholars. So thank you so much from my very humble heart on behalf of our board.
You should take a picture with them.
I do it all day.
Now do you want to give the shout out to the seniors program, so if anybody else want to?
Absolutely. This is,
Get that advertisement in,
this
yes.
is Stephanie. She heads out the program. She's very involved with getting everybody. She trained us. We go through training. So it's not just putting a grandma or grandpa in the building, in the schools with the kids. We actually go through training, a week-long training of do's and don'ts and, you know, those of you that have grandkids, you might say, hey, you know, you might stop. Give you some rules of what to do and what not to do. Especially with dealing with, a lot of these kids have problems, not just academically. So the support, I think, is really, really important. Some of them don't even have grandparents. So that's what we do. And it's about 40 of us around town that, it's not for a long time. I'm a newbie, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I couldn't wait to get in the program. I just kept saying, now? So, and it was last year, and kind of did it late, but I really enjoyed it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. We have just a short video, so if you didn't have a chance to see it, this is the news article that ran a couple weeks ago.
It is the first day of school for Grand Rapids Public Schools, and for some students, that first day can be tough.
But one classroom has a special helper to make the transition easier. 13 on your side's Elena Holland introduces us to Granny K.
I had like so many colors.
The first day of school.
Second grade is rough. Camille, Kevin.
Means jitters all around, but in Miss Contreras' classroom at East Leonard Elementary.
On your hand is your name. Kevin, give me just a minute, please.
Do you need your glasses?
One woman is making every day in second grade better.
Good job. High five. All right.
Her name?
Who's hugging me back here?
Catherine Higgins.
Hey!
But everyone knows her as
Granny K.
I don't even call her by her first name. I call her Granny K too.
She's a foster grandparent with senior neighbors.
Thank you, honey.
Spending her days helping the students learn to tie shoes,
Before long, you'll know how to do it all by yourself, okay?
color in the lines,
Try to keep it in the line, okay, Romeo?
but that's not her main role.
It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes they're having a rough day.
Why are you crying? What's the matter?
And her first job is checking in with those kids, making sure that they feel comfortable being here, making sure they feel loved and cared for and supported.
It's okay. Sometimes people say things that don't make you happy, okay?
She looks kids in the eye. She just makes them feel loved. She just gives the best hugs.
It's okay, honey.
Sometimes second graders need the support of a grandma.
The kids need some guidance. It's a shortage on teachers.
And sometimes Granny K needs them.
I'm a grandparent and I live alone. And it's so fulfilling to have the happy little faces every day that you come in, give you a sense of worth.
Granny K is in the classroom 4 days a week, all day.
Sometimes exhausted.
For her, it's worth it.
Every day, something good happens for at least most of them that I touch.
Whether on the first day of school
It's really tough. It's a transition from a baby to a big kid.
or any day, Granny K
Lola, that is so nice.
brings a grandmother's love to school.
Let's choose to have a better day and not let somebody make us sad, okay?
Senior Neighbors needs a few more helpers just like Granny K. They're also looking for a few classroom grandpas. Reporting in Grand Rapids, Elena Holland, 13 on your side.
They'll remember her their whole
Oh my
lives.
gosh, yes,
Love
they
it.
will.
Amazing. Great. Thank you very much. That was, wow.
And the last part of my report will be some school safety reminders, and so I'll have our Executive Director and Chief of Staff, Mr. Larry Johnson, come forward.
Good evening, President Ross, Dr. Roby. And then congratulations to Granny K, having been one of those young kids who grew up without having grandparents. I can appreciate her efforts and her dedication to kids. Thank you for having me, all the distinguished board members. Just very quickly, so some of the things that's going on, some of the things that we've kind of locked in on this year. Of course, bus safety is always at the top of our agenda. And just reminding our parents and our community to slow down as our our scholars, our young scholars are on the streets, happy to return to school. We're about 15 days in right now, and as they travel to and from school, we want to remind our drivers to be mindful of the flashing red lights on the bus, and just kids crossing the street that maybe not at a crosswalk but in the middle of the block, and just be aware so that we don't get any of our kids injured. We also encourage our parents to utilize the Here Comes the Bus system and our Z-Pass system to help us track our youngsters once they get on the bus. That's a great system, and we just cannot encourage our parents to sign up for that because it gives them an idea that when a bus is running late, they can log in and find that bus and make sure that their kid's on that bus, and that just reduces their anxiety. As we continue through the year, we'll continue our school safety videos. We have the opportunity to, through video and technology, to get in front of all of our staff doing our professional learning. And so we're going to expand on that by continuing our videos. Our monthly trainings are starting back up this month. And as well as our School Safety Leadership Academy, which we do about 3 times a year, and we encourage you to participate on a Saturday so you can see some of the things that we're working with our staff on around school safety and security. And then we'll just continue to work in our efforts around keeping our buildings safe. Right now, we are in the early stages of 2 secured entryway projects some difficult projects that we wanted to get our hands around. So Alex Smart is now working to design a system at East Leonard and Grand Rapids Montessori Middle School of trying to create a secured entryway at those 2 locations. And then we just finished up a camera upgrade projects at Grand Rapids Ford, Alger, Martin Luther King, Riverside, and Westwood, and are going straight into 5 additional projects, being Sherwood Campus, Kent Hills, Brookside, Sibley, and then we're going to do a camera evaluation at City High School, as we know that they need some additional assistance there. Had a great first football opening, if you had the opportunity to attend. Great turnout. We really liked the Union-Ottawa Saturday afternoon game, the college game day feel, and that was a great turnout from our community, and no incidents, and we're just hoping that we can continue the year just keeping safety at the forefront, keeping all of our scholars, our staff, and all of our stakeholders who attend events and participate in our buildings safe as the year goes on. Then I think you may have saw the news coverage. We held the school safety, the school security officers leadership training. That was the first of its kind in the state of Michigan. Though this was our second year, this was our largest year where we had 75 school security officers from around the county participating in common training, and that went over very well. And finally, we have our final six new hires that are in another academy right now. We're trying to get them through so we can get them into buildings so we can upstaff our security staff. So looking forward to a fun year. If you have any questions, we'll take them at this time. If not, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of the year.
Thank you, sir. All right, that moves us to our action items. May I get a motion to approve the peace education resolution?
So moved.
Support. All right, we have Ms. Lewis excused, Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused, Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused, Ms. Grant, yes, and President Ross.
Yes. And that moves us to our next item. May I get a motion to approve the GREA contract ratification?
So moved.
Support. Okay, we have Ms. Lewis excused, Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused, Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused, Ms. Grant, yes. President Ross.
Yes. Our next action item is the superintendent contract renewal. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
President Ross, just for members of the public, can we just give a length of term for this contract? Just a couple.
Sure,
details.
yeah. So I guess just for the general public, this extends the superintendent's contract. It was due to expire in June. It's a 3-year contract, so this extends that June date, so now it's 3.5 years roughly. The terms are obviously in your packet. I know I can't think of any particular highlights to offer, but if you saw that you'd like to offer something, feel free. I won't feel.
No, I think it's important to note that this is certainly a sense that the board is confident in the direction of the district, and certainly Dr. Roby's leadership, and that she'll be around for a few years
thank you.
longer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, thanks for
hopefully-
clarifying that.
So,
No, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely is a vote of confidence for the superintendent for sure. So yeah, it does ensure that we have Dr. Roby's talents available to us for until that will give us to
26.
Thank you very much. 2026. Did you want to offer something, Reverend Matias?
No, just as Dr. Baker was noting, I think that Dr. Roby has been taking us through these steps as we've been going through other changes in our district, so I really appreciate that.
Offer something?
You know I have something to say. But no, I think as I speak to people in the community and they ask about Dr. Roby's work, one thing that I really want to highlight is that her very first day here was in the middle of a pandemic and the beginning of a pandemic. So she wasn't able to meet staff in person. She couldn't go to the schools. All the buildings were shut down. She actually started working with us before her start date. I was serving as chair at that time, and she was meeting with us regularly, unpaid, communicating what was happening in her current school and what they were learning. So to do that and to stay and to come to GRPS and know that we had a lot of work to do already and now we have more work to do. And I speak for myself, but I think my colleagues feel the same. At no point did I feel like we're gonna lose her or she's out the door. And you can't say that for everybody. Not everyone is willing to stay and pull up their sleeves and do the work. So I'm excited to see her here now that the real work can begin and we can really create some change. And I'm excited to see you all do the work with her and with the board, because I think some amazing things can happen. And when amazing things happen in this district, amazing things happen in this city, in this county. And that's true. We really change what happens in this county for families and students. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you. Good deal. Thank you for saying that. And I do agree wholeheartedly with you. So you can, but we do have a motion and a second, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can go ahead and call the roll on that.
All right. Ms. Lewis is excused. Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused. Ms. Grant? Yes. President Ross?
Yes.
Thank you.
And that takes us to the purchasing agenda. May I have a motion to approve the purchasing agenda?
So moved. Support.
Ms. Lewis is excused. Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused. Mrs. Williams? Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis is, Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused. And Ms. Grant, yes. President Ross?
Yes. And there was a purchasing agenda addendum. We can get a motion for that as well.
So moved.
Support.
Just a quick question on why this is an addendum. This came after the Finance Committee, is that correct?
It did. Do you have any questions on the addendum, though? Feel free. Or do we have Ms. Cribbs here if you have any questions about the addendum?
Yeah, I just thought we should spend a little more time with it if it hasn't gone through the Finance Committee.
That's a good point.
I certainly don't see any concerns.
I'm sorry. So I just have a basic question. Are these all renewals or is anything?
Ms. Cribbs, are you?
Couple of them are renewals. The new one is the one for the premise neighborhood. Get to the right. So the EduPoint for the student, Synergy Student Information System, that's a renewal. The Grow Rise Learning with Sally Trant, it's a renewal and continuation of the work she's been doing with us for the last couple years. But the independent contractor services, in some extent, it's a renewal because we have had a Hill grant through Western Michigan University previously, and at least some of these consultants were working in our buildings, but with the new Promise Neighborhood grant, they were paid through Ottawa ISD. We've been determined that it would be easier if they were paid through us and probably more cost-effective if they were paid through us rather than going through Ottawa ISD. So you've got the list of the ones that have been identified at this point. There are some that are still working through the application process and interview process to be named. So that's where we will get to having 16, hopefully, eventually. But that's the interview process on those. So several of them have already been working in our buildings. Buildings requested to have the people that they've been working with come back. So that's the new one there. And the elevator service for Grand Rapids University is during the inspection out there, they found that they needed a new power unit. And those are incredibly expensive. So that's to maintain the accessibility in that building, we need to replace the power unit.
Any other clarifying questions for Ms. Cribs?
I have a question. You stated that there was renewal, particularly, I kind of understand the Synergy system. However, with regards to the Grow-Wise Learning, is that something that we would put an RFP out for, or how did we go to just renew that, I guess?
That's what I was going to say. This one, we've been using her with our environmental. It came as part of the green grant that we had 3 years ago, I believe, and now the green grant is done, or at least this version of it is, and we're still wanting to continue some work in the environmental ed. And it's my understanding that she's been very instrumental in bringing that piece forward. So they had some outstanding items they wanted to continue. So we didn't rebid it because she's been so involved in all of the work to date. Didn't want to start over from square one.
It was originally bid out though, or she came with the program?
I think she came with the program. Is that one? It was a consortium of Grand Valley, us, and a few other community agencies. So it was all a part of the mix of all the different
Including the
partners
city.
involved in that one.
In the city.
In the city.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, anything else from Ms. Cribs?
No, thanks. Since we didn't have
you.
a finance committee.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Cribs. Okay, we had a motion and a second. Go ahead and call the roll.
Ms. Lewis is excused. Reverend Macias?
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused. Ms. Grant, yes. President Ross?
Yes. And that brings us to our final action for the evening, the consent agenda grouping. If we can have a motion for that.
So moved.
Support?
All right, Ms. Lewis is excused. Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Ms. Shockey is excused. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores is excused. Ms. Grant, yes. President Ross?
Yes. All righty. Brings us to our public comment for non-agenda items. That is Miss T. Sanders, I believe. Yep, for sure.
You want it? This?
Hi, y'all.
Before you start, though, just advise every first of all public comment has 3 minutes. So again, we won't, of course, interrupt you, nor will we be able to respond directly to your comments, but we're definitely all ears and just wanted you to be aware.
Thank you. I sure do appreciate it. Or actually, I was thinking I should come up here and say, hi, Auntie. I think that you guys might get that reference. So I just want to really talk to you guys and update you on my case. If you can remember, last time I was up here, I brought a case of institutionalized racism to you guys. Since then, I was silenced by my administrator, who literally saw me crying in the classroom one day because of the stress I had to deal with due to the retaliation of standing up against that. She saw me crying and said, okay, if you stop posting things on social media, then I'll back off. Being naive and trying to believe her, I stopped on social media. The harassment did go down a level, but I was still being harassed. And that eventually led to an incident where she threw away some of my personal property that was very important to me. And so I was done. I filed a report with HR to say I was being harassed. My case never went anywhere for the civil rights filing that happened as well, nor did the harassment, nor was I ever contacted again by them. I was told I could not appeal my score because it was normal for a 2-year to be minimally effective. And then I was fired for low evaluation scores. I was contacted by the union and they let me know that because my low evaluation scores, which was the very thing I was fighting against, I was being let go. It's cool because I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. As it went, this experience in the district actually helped me with my research. It actually helped me come to what I'm calling now pluri English. And now that COVID's over, I've been in the community, hitting the streets. I told you guys I'm not going anywhere. I live here. So I've been talking about it and being able to go through this, share, and come up with techniques and strategies for people and teachers to protect themselves in the workplace. I pitched my idea to a place and got a research position, and I had the director of the PhD program at the university I'm currently attending contact me and tell me when I pitched my idea that my work was very cool and invited me to apply to their PhD program. Again, that talent, those people of color that you guys say you want, I was here. I created something for English language learners to have a better experience when they're a level 1 and level 2 in the classroom, because I knew that they were falling through the cracks, not being taught. Literally had one of the ESL teachers tell me that she would not teach one of my students because she didn't speak his language.
And your
It's
closing
against the
thoughts,
law.
please.
That's against the law. So I just wanted to come here and let you guys know, because I don't know if you're aware of it or not. I actually like you, and I have a lot of respect for you, Dr. Roby. To me, you're a role model. So I hope you weren't involved in this. I'm keeping a positive mind that you weren't, but I did want you guys to know
Thank
what
you very
happened.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe we have any other public comments for this evening, so it takes us to superintendent comments.
All right. So again, thank you to our board and to our community for the vote of confidence. It has been a really interesting journey these last 3 years, and I don't regret it. I always lean in the place of being guided by faith, and when the opportunity presented itself to apply to Grand Rapids, I said I'm going to do it. I could have applied at some other places, but this is the place that spoke to me, and so I don't regret my decision. I have absolutely loved it here, both good times and bad times and mask times. I've enjoyed my experience, and I just appreciate where we are and the steps that we're going to take forward in this community. I just have so much hope for our community in the future, and so just thank you very much.
Thank you. Absolutely. Our board member comments, we will start with Dr. Baker, please.
Thanks. Really fantastic. Seemed like, I guess, a restart, so to speak. So we had this storm that we said here 2.5 years ago, or whenever that was, with the expectation that we would start doing the work that we want to do now. We wanted to do 2.5 years ago, and now we're finally at it. So I appreciate, I'm really happy that you get to lead this. I'm going to miss being a part of it as much, but anyway, it's really great to have you here, and all the work that we got. And now you know how big the job is, and especially with what's coming with the facilities and the new school year, and this constantly changing city. So appreciate that, and appreciate the work that everybody else is doing, and our new leaders. So thank you.
Ms. Davis?
Lots of good stuff this meeting. Dr. Roby, I'm just happy that you're with us for the foreseeable future. The Senior Neighbors program sounds amazing. It's exactly what our students need. Just thank you to everybody that's working with our kids this year. So good to see a lot of new leaders out there as well. And I know my 4 kids all have had a good back to school start, but it really is the people, their teachers and volunteers that just love on them while they're at school. That's what they talk about when they get home. So thank you.
Ms. Williams?
Well, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Roby. It has been a pleasure to work with you and to see your vision, and I look forward to that continued work and to see how that impacts our district long term. Thank you for sticking with us and staying. We really need that type of leadership. And all of the new leadership members, thank you for coming on board. A lot of work to do, so roll up your sleeves. We appreciate you. And I'm excited that we were able to ratify the GREA contract. That is awesome. We want to make sure that we support those who are kind of front line in this, which are our teachers, and that they need to be able to come to work not worrying about contractual things. And so that we have that kind of behind us, and that they can go forward comfortably in our school years, supporting our youth. That is amazing. So thank you all in that area, and thank you so much, Granny K. I appreciate seeing how you love on our babies. That's so necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Reverend Matias?
Wow. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of celebration that we can have, and to think of the intergenerational connection that we ought to have. I mean, we ought not be a disconnected community that they pass through our doors and it's a different world or reality. It should be a continuation. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate the public comments. Our board is committed to hearing our folks in the community. And certainly, Dr. Roby, I'm glad that you bought a house. That also means that you're staying, right? But also this encouragement of this contract too says that we're really behind you. For our administrators, as was stated, yeah, roll up your sleeves. We have a lot of expectation in this board, and we are behind you in terms of putting not just the money, but the resources that you need. I love to see the KSSN connection, the community school coordinators, the counselors, the changes in our counselor roles that is more effective when they're able to actually be one-on-one or group with our children. So that's really exciting to see, really looking forward to seeing our school. I had a chance to go to 4 school openings. Amazing, really amazing to see our kids. They were settled, they were set, they were learning. I went to Union High School, seeing that whole crew of teenagers there, excited, dizzy. I mean, they were looking like, where do I go? They're looking at me with this and thinking I'm a staff member. What do I do? Well, I used to work there, so I sort of could see. But it was really exciting to see other students say, hey, let me help you. I've been here before. And that was exciting as well. So really appreciate the work of our teachers and administrators, and certainly our parents as well. Thank you.
Mr. Ross, before you go on to Ms. Grant, I forgot one thing. The Alumni Classic game was awesome. If you missed it, you missed a treat. And I look forward to us getting our Ottawa Hill Bengals up to a level that we will also have a great competitive game so that they feel like they are competitive as well. So, but the game was amazing. The environment was amazing. I don't want to let that go unsaid because I'm always about ways to bring our alumni back. And so I'm sorry to have to interject on that, but I can't let it go unsaid.
Thank you. Ms. Grant, how to follow that?
Well, I was going to say no comment, but being the Ottawa alumni that I am, I would just like to say we are competitive. We are good. I'm proud of our team. So we'll be back.
That's what's up. Good deal. I don't think I can really add anything to what's already been said. So just thank you to our new folks in particular, and to the folks who grind every day. Thank you for recognizing GRA contract for sure. And really, in Granny K, my hat's off to you. If I had one on, absolutely. Otherwise, I guess our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.